Hello everyone, it's Fred again from Notes of a Nomad, video number 169. This time I want to tell you what happened last week when I left Kathmandu, went to New Delhi, India. From there, went to South Korea, visited a friend in South Korea, and from there, we came to Seattle, and from Seattle flew to Victoria, where I'm currently located, back home in Canada. So let me show you a few pictures which will illustrate what happened last week. So let's start here at the airport. This happens to be the airport in South Korea. I flew from Kathmandu to New Delhi, very modern airport, very nice airport. The only challenge I had there was waiting for my boarding pass to leave from New Delhi to go to Seoul in South Korea. It took over an hour lining up just to get a boarding pass. I don't know what was going on with the system, but it was very arduous standing in line, waiting for sometimes 10 minutes or more for each person to get a boarding pass. Don't know what was going on in that case. However, did arrive in Seoul, and another very modern, nice airport, a little bit different to those in Nepal. And as you can see, this was sort of the immigration was seamless, even though the people in India said, "Oh, do you have a visa for Korea?" I said, "I don't need one." I checked. And when I arrived with no visa, they gave me a 6 month uh, stamp in my passport. I could stay till the 29th of October if I wanted to, but I was only staying 2 days. But it was very easy to get through the airport in Korea. I waited in the departure because the bus that I was going to get arrived at the departure at a gate, and I waited a few hours, and this was the bus that I got on. It is about 400, approximately 400 kilometers to Busan on the south coast of Korea, where Jereub, who I was going to visit, was located. The buses are totally different to anything you would experience in Nepal. In fact, I this was inside, very luxurious. You could, recline, no luggage on the bus, not crowded at all, Wi-Fi on the bus, 4 lane highways, bus lanes in some cases. Buses can go like 110 kilometers an hour, or whatever the speed limit was. I would love to bring a couple bus drivers from Nepal, put them on this bus. It would blow their mind to see what a bus is like in South Korea compared to the buses that they drive on the roads that they drive on in Nepal. Another example of the difference is where you stop. This was, the bus stop where you can go to the washroom and get food. That's very, very well equipped. And also tunnels. This would blow their minds, the Nepali people. They have hills and so on, but no tunnels. Whereas here, when there's a hill, they have a tunnel through it. It just keeps going. No tunnels that I saw in Nepal. There may be some, but I didn't see them in the 12 weeks that I was traveling on buses. So what a difference. It was very enjoyable. This was Jared, who I went to visit, Jared Stein, who I met in Africa in 2012. In fact, I'm going to expand this, and this will show you. This was some of his T-shirts that I think his mother made into like a blanket type thing. And this was the African trails, showing he had been on the west coast, coming down the west coast of Africa. And my daughter and I got on in Cape Town, and we traveled up the east coast. It was a 4 month trip from Cape Town to Cairo. What an experience. And that's where I met Jared and was very impressed with the man. In fact, this shows you some of the things that he's done in this particular page. If I can expand it a little bit, and I can tell you a little bit about Jared, because I think this explains a lot about it. The Four Deserts Club. It's one of the most, one must successfully complete the four 250 kilometers self-supported foot races across the hottest, coldest, windiest, and driest places on Earth. to become a member of the Four Deserts Club. These events are the Atskana Crossing in Chile, the Gobi March in China, the Sahara Race in Egypt, and the Last Desert in Antarctica. There are no exceptions to this rule. And below it explains a little bit about Jared, which I think will tell you a lot about why I think he's an interesting man. Bio, American runner and teacher. He teaches English in South Korea. Jared Staines dedicated 2016 to traveling and competing in the Four Deserts Race series. Jared signed up for all Four Deserts races in 2016 and completed 3 races during the year: the Sahara Race, Atacama Crossing, and the Last Desert. A bout of malaria left him unable to compete in the Gobi March in 2016. He says it left an emotional wound that I will heal in the Gobi March 2017. Jared joined the Four Deserts Club, calling the race his own last desert. Jared completed his journey while saying, "The overwhelming amount of incredibly talented and inspiring people I meet is humbling for my ego because each person is more exceptional than the last." He has done a lot of similar type of marathons throughout his life. So that is Jared, I think, in a nutshell. And I enjoyed spending time with him. We walked down to the waterfront. This was a sort of famous bridge in Busan. The upper deck, the traffic goes one way, the lower deck, the traffic goes another. Again, lots of high-rise buildings. Jared said in his time there, he's been there quite a few years, the lower, smaller buildings are knocked down and they build higher ones. Been a lot of construction in the time that he's been there. He keeps pointing out, when I lived there, there was nothing, none of this existed. It just keeps building and building. This was, as we were walking around the waterfront, places where people could exercise. There was exercise equipment, outdoor exercise equipment, and people were utilizing it, typical of South Korea. This is Coco, which is Jared's dog. Now, Coco took a liking or disliking, I don't know, to my Agora speaker's hat. He ended up chewing it, so it's no longer my hat. It was now belongs to Coco. So I'm going to have to get a new one when I go to Australia again. So no more Agora speaker's hat for a while. This was Jared waiting near where the bus was going to take me back to Seoul the following on the Monday. I arrived on the Saturday, so I spent part of Saturday and then Sunday, and then on my way back on Monday to catch the plane to Seattle. So we just showing the downtown street. There's Jared and I smiling, and the bus had arrived to take me to Seoul, and there again is a view of the bus from inside. And here is the Incheon Airport in Seoul, and from there is an example of one of the planes I flew on, Asiana Airlines, which is a South Korean airlines, from Seoul in South Korea to Seattle. And I arrived in Seattle, and these are some of the trolleys where we're waiting for luggage. And as you can see, it says, "Welcome Seattle Tacoma International Airport." And I then found out that my plane, I thought there was more than one plane leaving from Alaska Airlines from Seattle to Victoria, but only one a day now. Used to be more in my previous experience. And that plane had left, so I had to stay overnight in the airport amongst at least 100 other people waiting for planes were in that airport in the departures zone. So I flew on Alaska Airlines to Victoria, and this was the plane as it was nearing Victoria. I found my car, which you may, if you've ever watched some of my videos, which I call Charlie, my chariot, was parked for 6 months, didn't want to start, but fortunately, the person who picked me up at the airport had cables, so I could boost it, and it's going like a dream again. So after 6 months of sitting waiting for me, Charlie, my faithful chariot, is still taking me places. And one of the places I went to because I was feeling hungry was Burger King. Now, I, for some reason, Burger King agrees with my stomach. Other fast foods I cannot eat. Stomach doesn't agree, but Burger King did. So I enjoyed more than one burger since I've been back. So that's been my experience so far. I'm enjoying my time here. It's been a relaxing time. I haven't rowed yet, but tomorrow I start my rowing regime. But I had lost a lot of weight. I was surprised how much weight I lost when I weighed myself. So I've been eating a few burgers and trying to gain weight. So as of tomorrow, I'm going to start getting on that rowing machine and seeing how well I'm doing. But my cough is really diminished. I still have a little bit. I'm certainly much better. No more heavy coughing, which I had when I was in Nepal. So with that, that was my week that was, my travels from Nepal to Victoria. So with that, I'll say adios, au revoir, wishing you, your family, and friends lots of love and laughter. Until next time, bye for now from Fred and Notes of a Nomad.